So this is a review on the Batmobile Two-Face Escape from 2006, and it has a piece count of 394, set number 7781, and ages 7 to 12 from the theme Batman. Onto the box. So here's the box, and I really think you should stick around for this because this is such a cool box and is very unique to other sets that you see nowadays. The set on the box is actually raised just a bit from the main box, giving it this nice texture feel to it and this nice cool like clean pop to it. And it's different from some of the raised stuff that they do on the boxes for the big sets nowadays. This one is like way detailed and stuff like that for the raised effect on the box, and just gives this set a much more cooler factor to it than it already is. Here's the Batmobile here, and it has this kind of weird feeling, like the artwork is kind of weird looking, and it's because around this time in 2006, and a little before, they were experimenting on using CG models for some of these for the image of the set. Like you can see here, some of the racer sets, it has a weird look to it. It's not a physical model, but it's actually a CG model that they are using. And I think, and it's much more better now with their CG style. So it's not, so I think but the Lego sets nowadays all use this, they're all CG models, you know. It's much more effective using the CG models to show what the set is than using the physical models, because that takes time. You have to position it and stuff, and it's not that time efficient when you have so many Lego sets, you know. So this is when they started experimenting around this time, like I said, with this CG artwork for the sets. And this one does, and it has Two-Face there being popped up from the van, the Batman logo. There's a more zoomed out there. This one is a bit special in that it has that video game feel to it from the Lego Batman video game, with the water on the ground where it's like wavy and stuff like that. Really feels like it's just coming from the Batman video game at that time. But it's much more apparent than it is nowadays, because it's much more cleaner nowadays than it was at this time, where it's way more apparent that it's CG. Interestingly, this fence build is different from how they have you assemble it in the instructions, which is kind of odd. And it has one of those like spike things up here, and the fence, and the stop sign is differently placed like it is in the set. Has the information there. At the bottom, it shows the Lego Club free membership stuff and some of the information there. On the side, more of the same, just warnings and stuff. On the other side, just shows, I guess, the feature on how it's supposed to be done, with this kind of other art style of more like drawn style to it. And at the top, it shows that information there and the minifigures there to 1:1 scale, which you can see what I mean with the CG look to it. But on the back, it shows, you know, the play features in that and some of the other sets, some spoilers to the set, I suppose. There's that feature there showing that this is actually using physical models, and you can really much see the difference, you know, and that how the light is shining onto it. Shows some of the accessories and stuff, and some of the other sets at the time. And then there's like the Batcave there, and then some of this comic book inspired artwork here of what's happening within this set, you know, the story of this set. But here's some of the artwork in the background with the puddle kind of effect to the road in the background. It's just reusing the same artwork on the, yeah, it's just reusing the artwork from the box without the models on there. But before I go, I want to really, emphasize this coolness with the raised feel to it. Like, all the models are raised and stuff. You can see there. So cool. I was just blown away when I saw this box. On to the instructions. So here's the instructions, but opening up, it just shows the stuff that you usually see. They do have a bat signal, like, shining through the pages here. Show, like, Two-Face in the back there. And one other thing within the instructions is that they have you put this red piece here, and it's actually meant to help it, like, with assembling. And when you're getting to the very end of the page, they tell you to remove it. And it's one of a few sets that actually have you remove a piece from the set and discard it in a way. And here's the end build. And here's the artwork in the back showing the other sets from the time that you can get. There's a lot of chaos. Oh, there's multiple Batmans in this scene. That's kind of funny. You can see the CG look to it all and the bat layer here. And then on to the next page is just showing this kind of odd way of showing how some of these features work with this kind of like blueprint feel to it. And then the next page shows an alternate build, which I think they were just phasing out from this time, these alternate builds, but it shows this strange Two-Face extreme like race car kind of looking thing. And then this small like little buggy for Batman. It really reminds me of the DK book for some reason with the look of it, the chibiness to it. And then this bat helicopter, which is clever. It doesn't have a tail rotor though, and it has this like tail spike that he's just swinging around on this helicopter. And then it shows the piece count, and it's actually kind of strange. It almost looks like an error, and I wonder if it is, but it might be just that it's like, Two-Face. Oh, it's normal here, so that's very strange. I wonder if that's like that on all the copies of this instructions. And here at the end, it's just Lego Club, God rest its soul. And at the back is Lego Shop at Home. Nothing about that wind stuff though. So here's that piece I was just telling about. Nothing much about that, but this is this fence here. On the box here, it shows how it's, built in this different way than it is here. But here's that automatic barrier gate, and it does what you can imagine, and that it goes up with that Technic beam. But the teeth pieces are just attached in this, I don't know if a legal way, but it feels like it's putting a lot of stress onto it. But there's that stop sign, and it's just attached to a 4-length bar piece onto a jumper plate. And there's that plate that sticks out at the end, and that's so it prevents it from falling backwards. That surely would not be good on the people on the other side. This is an interesting build for this street lamp, using this tooth piece, having it clipped on there. You might be thinking, how does the Batmobile drive through this? Because the Two-Face car, goes through it fine. There's tons of space, For the Batmobile, though, it is such a tight fit. It's just like a couple millimeters from it touching either end. Actually, exactly a tight fit. Actually, it doesn't get through because of this, the fin with the street lamp. It's built how it is in the box because they're like, well, it's not achievable for them to go through it. But here's this road spike that they have in the set. But it's just a couple teeth on a 1x10, so with a chain onto it. But here's a Two-Face van, and I mean, what can I say? Like the look of it is just top tier, But it has one side white, one side gray. On the other side, it's like what it's actually supposed to be like, a Gotham City Bank car, one there. And then on the other side, they just, painted it all white. Which is kind of funny because, if you're trying to look for Two-Face, I mean, not that difficult. I mean, it's the one gray and white, you know? But here's, you know, the top there with the sticker. The only printed element in this set is the console and the Batmobile. So everything you see here is, there's no prints. These are all stickers. For some reason, when building this, the clutch power is much softer than, you know, you usually get. I feel like I felt this before building a set around this time too. I feel like in like 2010, if you tried removing this hood piece off a other set, it would like take up a other piece with it, you know? But the clutch power is not that strong. It's soft, but it's like, it's on there, you know? But removing it, you can see inside there, it's a very tight squeeze. And this is before they thought about, you know, legs getting stuck to the vehicle, you know? So this might happen when you put in this figure into the set, that you're trying to get him out, but his legs got stuck to the floor. Depends on if the torso is cracked, I suppose. And then for the bumper here, they use some snot with these brackets to attach that on. And because they're using the brackets, it's like, it goes with the pieces, you know, flowing nicely. Assemble this, you know, perfectly, but for some reason, like, you know, like I was talking about with the clutch power, this piece attached to the trapdoor just wants to fall off. I also want to point out that nowadays they would have assembled this differently, because this here would have a plate or a bumper piece, as I call them, attached to this, because when you're shooting at this is the main like feature, you know? It could, you know, pop off like that, and it's like, oh, then you have to remove this piece like I did here to attach it on. And this is more on what I was talking about, how it comes off easily. It just like comes off like that, you know? And it's shooting this way, so you don't really want that to happen for this. But going to the side here, you can see how these have hinges and stuff, and that's because you can pull these down for these rockets, I imagine, unless these are shooters or lasers, but they're onto these microphone pieces that are used here to give that like rocket look. But these open up on either side to give it some like firepower. But you can see how that looks there. You could put somebody in there, but the feature might interfere with it. You could put somebody holding on to this bar piece for like dear life. But on the back here is, you know, that back bumper. Kind of funny how that back bumper is built, but it has this like dish piece, and it kind of looks like a magnet. But it has a trapdoor on the top, and that's to launch Toothface when he's on top of there, when that dish piece is hit by the Technic spring-loaded shooter and launches him, which is kind of funny that he's on the rooftop, because it's like, that's very dangerous, you know? I'll set that aside until I get to the main feature with the other build. This is the Batmobile, but I do have to say, this is the nicest Batmobile. It is such a nice feel and like sleekness to it. It is just unmatched with some of the other Batmobiles that Lego has made. Because of the Batman game, this vehicle, you know, it's in there and stuff, and it's, you know, the main vehicle. It has such like a classic Batmobile to it. But the look of it is just, you know, it's nice. It's, you know, classic kind of thing by the 80s Batman movies and stuff from that time. But getting on to the build, you can see here it's very prevalent that the Batmobile here has one of these missiles, these Technic missiles at the front here. These things, if you haven't used them before, these things pack a punch for missiles go, you know? I think this might be the strongest Lego shooting projectile that Lego has made. But it uses the original missile here before they changed it. I don't remember when they changed it, but it has some stickers here for the lights. You know, it uses these pieces cleverly to tuck in the missile there. Has some hose pieces being connected there, and some of these rim pieces that I don't know if they might have discontinued it. They might have. But at the top here, there's this color that I've only seen from these Batman sets from this time. This dark pearl gold color in these, like this dark pearl gold rims and stuff. But for some reason, it's actually under pearl gold and not a dark pearl gold, which I don't think exists. But it's kind of strange because this color, when I was looking at it, it really feels like a darker pearl gold. Like, I know what pearl gold is like, and this is definitely a bit darker than pearl gold. And I know around this time, dark pearl gold had a bit of like inconsistency where sometimes it would be darker and sometimes it would be lighter, and not just how it is now where it's just plain color, you know? I'm not sure if that's what's happening here. I was going to say that this was a bit of a late Purge piece, but it's not even that. It's a little sadder than that because this piece was introduced in 2005, a year after the Purge for Lego pieces, and discontinued 2 years after, probably 2007. So, it's a bit of a sad story with this piece, I suppose. Open up the canopy here, and they use this hinge piece to do that, which is so clever. I was thinking that they're going to have you know, pop it off, and it's going to be difficult in that, but it opens up, like, so nicely. Here's the only printed piece in the set there. And on the other side, there's these little switches and stuff like that on either end. And you can fit Batman in there. The cape does get in the way, though, so be aware of that. There's room in there for his cape, but these fins are connected by these ratcheting joints. At the back here is, you know, the flames and stuff. I use this, it's kind of like a chair, but it's more of a piston for the classic rocket ships. But they use that piece to have the fire pieces connected to. And they probably have to do it this way because these little pins get in the way if they chose to put it more inside. But at the back here, there's this trunk that uses one of these city hood pieces. And you can open it just how it's like on the canopy, and there's all these accessories in there. I chose to put all the accessories in there. Dumping that out, it's all the accessories that are in this accessory pack for these Batman sets at the time. That's where you get the common Batarang from, just from a parts pack with all these other kind of brethrens lost to time, you know? These are all gone, you know? These were discontinued when this theme was discontinued, you know? This one stuck around for a bit, and I think it's discontinued now. And all there's left is the common Batarang from this, which is unfortunate because these ones are so cool, but it makes sense why they discontinue them. There's literally no attachment point onto this for Batman to hold on to. Like what I was talking about, like, it can't fit in, it's too loose there for him to hold, and it's to attach it like that, you know, it's not achievable. So there's really only way to hold onto it, which is just a bar connection. So it makes sense why they discontinued these. And actually got a redesign, like you can see here, where it's not using softer plastic like the Batarangs and stuff. But yeah, that's where the common Batarang comes from, this parts pack. And it's too bad that these handcuffs are really nice looking with how it slopes down all the way like that there. And I almost forgot, Jesus, the common Tommy gun comes from this parts pack. I think they removed it out of its parts pack more earlier than these pieces because it was used a lot by itself in the Indiana Jones sets. Anyway, but on to the main feature where this Technic missile hits the back of the Two-Face car. I've seen reviews where it's difficult to achieve this, and I could see that because this is just fixed into place, so there's really only another way, and that is just lifting up the car and trying to aim it. But it's kind of like common sense to have it, you know, as leveled as Two-Face car. It's kind of like, well, we have a deadline, just get it out, you know, kind of thing. So just shooting it leveled only hits the bumper, as I expected. So you really, the only way to hit that is if somebody is lifting up the car to achieve it. So am I just putting a figure up on there just to see how it's done. Lifting it up just a bit. Okay. Yeah, like, because of how big this missile is, it might hit the corner and it's like, well, shoot, you know, kind of thing. I think that's about it. I think that's good. There we go. There's a reviewer that made it way harder than it looked. You just have to lift up the car like a couple plates high to get that to work. And I think, yeah, it already broke off, so strange choice not to reinforce it with the plate underneath it. And it's all broken underneath it. Here's what it looks like inside if you're curious, but you can lift that up. But yeah, that's pretty much about it with the build. Here's almost, I forgot, you know, what it looks like all around kind of thing. Just hold up by Technic pins. It's really just like a big plate, some bricks, some Technic in there, and some slopes around it, you know, to give it that look. Here's what it looks like in there. Really feels like just a common like city vehicle, you know, with just a class like rims, just typical slopes all around and stuff. You can see how that's done. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. On to the minifigures. So here's the included Two-Face henchman, and he's exclusive to the set. It's funny, it's only like really one print that is really exclusive with this figure, and that is just the torso, and then just a common pair of legs there, and one of these toques there, or a beanie. And his face comes in 5 sets, 4 from the Batman series, and then just 1 Spider-Man set from that time too. Has that very henchman face to him though, with the shaded glasses and the facial hair and that grin there. Here's Batman, and he's also in 5 other sets, and it just has that, you know, classic Batman feel to it from that time, with the old cowl there, much more like thicker and stuff. But on the back of him, there's just nothing, and there's his face there, with just a white sweatband, you know, that's what they say, but it's just because, you know, had the cowl's eyes where his forehead is, so they had to put a white band so it looked good. Onto the main show, you know? And here's Toothface, and he has his iconic drum locker silver coin here, and his Tommy gun, which is in that little parts pack, but you can tell it's the harder, softer plastic like the other pieces in that parts pack. Thankfully, I have the more pricier version where his waist piece is printed, so it goes nicely with the flow of his outfit on the right. He has, you know, all in half, white, and black. On the back, it's printed too. And I think his normal face is just Batman's face with like, see how it's like his chin print is the same as Batman? And then his scarred face, which is just so classic Batman stuff for this time. It's just so good looking, you know? This figure out of all the Two-Face figures is gotta be the quintessential Two-Face figure. I mean, nothing can really beat the feel of this figure for all the other ones. Many have tried, but this one is what everybody wants for their Two-Face figure if they need to get one, you know? So cool looking when you're like a kid in that, and just even when you're older, it's just so good looking. Here's a typical head from that time. Here's his hairpiece, and they reused this in 2013, 2012, I think it's 2012 for the updated Two-Face, and then they discontinued this hairpiece. And then the packaging for the capes is, for some reason, the seller had this still sealed. It makes sense why they chose to do it the ones how it is now, where it's much more easier to open it and that. Anyway, that's about it with the set. This is a hold up. Give me a like and subscribe.
Hey boss.
Yeah?
The vehicle was destroyed.
What do you mean it was destroyed? You motherfucker.